Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
It is Joey Cates. And man, we got a good show for you, man. What is this? Number 5 of the week, 4 of the week? How many have we done?
Grinded this
We've been
week.
grinding this week, dude. Post-production's been a booger of a time trying to keep up with all this. In the studio, Kyndal from A Walking Testimony.
Yes.
He's walking across the U.S. for mental health awareness and recovery. We're going to get into that in just a second. It's going to be a great conversation. We appreciate him stopping by with us today. But before we do that, before we jump into it, we want to thank the people that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brownwater Studio right out of the gate here, the first one, the OG, the one who stuck with us the longest. Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. If you're looking for a great local dentist, they are located on Washington Avenue right here in Ocean Springs. You can look them up on the socials at Southern Magnolia Smiles on Facebook and Instagram. 2025 is a year to brush your teeth. So book that consultation. Let them shine those pearly whites up, get you looking good. And, oral health care is it's important. So let's keep those teeth clean. You can book that consultation by calling them at 228-215-1202 and tell them that Brownwater sent you. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, Taylor & Cox Law Firm has been practicing law on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for over 30 years. They are in Jackson County, George County, and Greene County. It's our buddy Tyler right here, looking sharp in that photo. They specialize in felonies, misdemeanors, DUI, family law, divorce, child custody, you name it. If you need somebody to fight tooth and nail for you, maybe yourself, maybe you know somebody looking for an attorney, going through something in life right now where they need legal representation, Taylor & Cox Law Firm is the one for you or them. Just give them the phone number, 228-696-0111, and tell them that Brownwater sent you. If you are trying to get back moving around again and feeling healthy, you want to take your health seriously. Forever Young Men and Women's Health is the one for you. Their motto is they're bringing medicine, health, and exercise together to help men and women live their best life. Go over to Facebook, type it in, Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Look at some of their testimonials, look at some of the video, look at some of the information they've got as to how to blend medicine and health to keep you feeling your best. Kendrick is well-versed in all of those things. So, book a consultation with them. They can do some lab work on you. They can check your blood levels to see if you're vitamin deficient or hormone deficient, like we always say. They specialize in testosterone replacement for both men and women. So when you're ready to give them a shout and get to feeling better, you can give them a call, 228-363-6623. And again, tell them Brownwater sent you. And bringing up the rear here, we got Ocean Springs Marine Mart Rock the Cock Fishing Tournament, man. It's Mr. Kenny. He was on the show a couple episodes ago. It's going to be the weekend of May 31st and June 1st. The captain's meeting will be actually May 30th. So inshore division and an offshore division. Inshore division has a $50 entry fee per angler. The offshore division has a $100 entry fee per angler. Inshore division consists of redfish, speckled trout, flounder, blackfish. Offshore division consists of cobia and red snapper. They're going to give away a lot of money, $800 for first place, $400 for second place, $200 for third place in the inshore division. Offshore division pays out a little bit more, $1,500 for first, $1,000 for second, and $500 for third. Family-friendly event. You can bring the kids down there and hang out. There's going to be music. There's going to be food, drinks for sale. It's going to be a good time. Start Saturday as far as the weigh-in part of it. Saturday, noon to 8. Scales are 3 to 7. And then Sunday is noon to 8 again. Scales are 3 to 6. So go check it out. It's going to be a good time. You can give them a call if you want to enter the tournament at 228-875-0072, or just look them up on Facebook, Ocean Springs Marine Mart. You can get in touch with them there as well. So that about does it there, man. That was good. I like that. I still beat you, Joey.
Yep.
I'm reigning champion here. But Kyndal, man, thanks so much for stopping by today and chatting with us. Got a lot of buzz going on Facebook right now. I've seen a few posts coming across the town. I would say everybody from Bay St. Louis to Pascagoula is talking about what you're doing. For people that don't know, what is A Walking Testimony and what are you doing?
Man, well, first off, thank y'all both for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
Anytime to bring awareness in any type of way is super important. So I'm Coach Kyndal Ray, a.k.a. A Walking Testimony, mental health advocate, recovery coach, walking across more than once and to all four corners, the northwestern point of Washington, southwestern point of California, to the southeastern point of Florida, to the northeastern point of Maine, of America, on foot, for mental health awareness and recovery, simply to tell people daily that you matter. We do recover. Those are my two main phrases. I walk in remembrance of our loved ones who are no longer with us due to mental health and or recovery issues, to let them know they're going to never be forgotten and will always be in our hearts. We walk for the ones that are currently struggling to let them know that there is hope, that we do recover, that our past do not define us.
Yeah, there we go. That was a mouthful there. I like it. That's a lot to unpack.
Came out to shoot.
Yeah. That's
it's
a lot
like
to
that
unpack,
daily. I feel like I repeat that exact phrase just like that so many times a day.
I feel the same way when I read the sponsored list every year. So where do we start?
I would just tell us, where you started, where you grew up, and then lead us down the road of the recovery.
Absolutely. So, born and raised in the metro area of Jacksonville, Florida, Orange Park, Florida, Clay County,
Southern
right
boy,
outside
Southern
of Duval. Go Jags, whatever. Grew up raised in the church, actually. Very sheltered life for a while. Church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, which I'm sure the people out here in the southern hospitality states like to hear that. Always had God in my heart, but shied away down a path of destruction for quite a while, which is kind of led up to me walking across America. So the reason that I'm walking for mental health and recovery is that in the last 18 years of my life, I've struggled with the depression, addiction, and a life of crime. I've tried to take my life twice. I've overdosed. I've been in county jail 11 times, in prison twice. I'm 32 years old. I have 13 felony convictions on my record and a bunch of misdemeanors. Yeah, it's pretty extensive. And I would say from being 18 years old to 28 years old in that 10-year time frame, like between probation, inpatient rehab, and just in and out of county jail and the prison, there was less than 10 months that I was just actually a free man with nothing on me up until this last time of me getting out after I had changed my life. And the journey was actually originally inspired in 2013. I was doing a year in the county jail. I read a newspaper article titled "America on Foot" about a guy named Harrison Milani who had walked from Tallahassee, Florida to Laguna Beach, California. It had pictures with people kind of like the ones I have, I post a lot of selfies with people I meet. And it had that, and I was like, wow, like somebody did the Forrest Gump kind of thing.
Right.
I fell in love with it.
Forrest
Like
Gump
life is like a box of chocolates. Like, man, this dude's getting a lot of chocolate. He's eating good,
That's right.
So I want to do something like that. So I got out of jail in 2014, found him on Facebook, sent him a message like, hey, dude, like super inspired by this. I would love to go walk across America myself. Like, what are your thoughts? He's like, highly recommended, dude, for anybody that's like physically capable and go do something like that. Like, it's a life-changing experience for the better. He's like, the only thing I really would have done different was go out there and actually walk for a cause. So I go on Facebook. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm going to go walk across America. I'm going to take off January 1st, 2015. Anybody have any causes that I can walk for? And I ended up picking up 2 different reasons. My life wasn't changed. I was still using and doing stupid stuff, breaking into houses and all the dumb stuff. I'm stealing this, that, and the other. So January 1st, 2015, the day that I told everybody I was going to take off on this journey, I ended up breaking into a post office instead and going to prison.
Wow.
And it's crazy because like the FBI, the Secret Service, and everybody showed up, but I never got charged federally. There was not a security system in this post office or anything like that. This was like a retirement community in Penny Farms, Florida. Like it was just a whole thing. I ended up going to prison, got out of prison. I violated my probation 3 times, but I had a full-time job. I was paying my court fines and stuff like that. And my judge ended up dropping my probation with a year left. He's like, don't let me see you back in the courtroom. A couple months later, I was back in there for kicking in a drug dealer's door with 2 other people. And there was just a whole bunch of stuff that went downhill real quick. 2.5 years into that 5-year prison sentence, something clicked in my head for me to change my life. And my last year in work release, I remembered this journey and got out of prison, took off on the journey. But I will leave it open for more questions before I get too specific, because I don't want to take it.
I
ramble really heavy.
Good.
So
that's good. I love it. So you did say this is the second time you've done this, or this is the first time?
So
I'm confused.
So, and I actually get to ask that a lot. So it's one big journey, but it's in different parts because I do take little breaks here and there. It was originally just supposed to be a coast to coast. So I've done my first coast to coast was, I got out of prison November 6, 2021. I took off with my feet in the Atlantic Ocean January 1st, 2022. I walked 13 states, 3,292 miles across to Long Beach, Washington. Finished April 12th, 2023, which was my 4-year drug-free day. Like I timed it to be on my 4-year drug-free day. Like there was a bunch of people at the beach that I had never met with all these "You Matter" signs and stuff like that. And it was just absolutely incredible.
Was that mental health awareness on that walk?
Yeah, this whole journey has
All
been
of it has
mental health
that.
and
Okay.
recovery.
So you picked that and you've been.
Oh,
walked with it.
absolutely. Every bit of the 8,100 miles we have right now, all for mental health and recovery.
Yeah.
Even I have shirts with 180 names apiece of beautiful souls that are no longer with us due to mental health and recovery that we're walking in remembrance of. And we started with one edition that we had for the whole first coast to coast. And sadly enough, we're about to finish the 19th edition. That's like almost 3,600 names that people have submitted of their loved ones from people following this journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after I finished that, I took I met my girlfriend on the journey, actually walking through her city of Enid, Oklahoma. And so after I finished first coast to coast, I took a break off. I went back to her for a month, and then I went back out because I felt unfulfilled with what I had done. And I was like, I want to go walk more. So I decided that I was going to walk up to the most northwestern point of Washington, which was Cape Flattery. Walked up there. I was on my way back down to Long Beach, Washington, and I met some bikers in Forks, Washington. And they were biking to all four corners. They were doing a box around America. Now, I wasn't planning on doing a box around America, but I had already been to one corner, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I could take down the entire west coast of the southwestern point of California. I could walk back across the country, and then I go down to the bottom of Florida. And now that I'm saying this right now, it's like in Forks, Washington, I was thinking about this, and I'm almost done with the second coast to coast portion. So technically, this is part 3 because I did the coast to coast. Part 1, the entire West Coast, part 2, the second coast is going to be part 3, and then part 4. But it really is just one big journey.
I love it. That's awesome. It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. When you were in jail and you said something clicked, were you doing anything different at the time, or it was just a light switch on and off?
I believe the Holy Spirit had got a hold of me, man. Yeah. My faith came back to me for sure. There was a few different things that happened within a couple week period. So right before I went to prison on the 5 years, the reason that that I ended up even breaking into the drug dealer's house stuff, I wasn't allowed to go back to my house because one night me and some of my friends were on a bunch of acid and cocaine in my parents' garage. We were being very disruptive. My dad's disabled. He ended up coming out and he swung a guitar and it was supposed to hit me. It ended up hitting my mom in the nose. And I got in this big fight with my dad. I ended up going to jail, having an injunction. I couldn't go back to the house, this, that, and the other. A couple years later, my dad was supposed to come see me on my birthday and he didn't end up coming on my birthday. And I was like so mad. And then the very next week he came. My birthday is March 30th, April 6th or something like that, around that time. Within that week, he came and talked, so we started repairing that relationship. I had started working out a couple weeks or a little bit before that. Yeah. So that was a big part of my life change. I was tired I gained a lot of weight in prison. Weight was a big part of my childhood and my depression and stuff, and me leading up to me taking my life and just no self-esteem and things like that. Right. So I'm sitting in prison. I gain all this weight again. Not comfortable with myself. Well, one of the most elite people I've ever met in my life, 0% body fat, dude, just freaking shredded dude. But one of the nicest guys in the bunk next to me, and we would always talk for over a year in the bunk next to me. And then my nickname, he's like, "Hey, BBK," and I'm like, "BB, what is that?" He said, "Bad Body Kyndal, what's up? Well, you need to get right." And I'm like, and so he would call me BBK, and I didn't like it. Yeah. But some of these guys would invite me to come work out with them. When I say they are the most elite on the compound I was at, I would watch people go out there and never want to go back out there with these guys again because they just went hard all day. These were the guys that a lot of people would sit and just watch them work out and be like, dang, those dudes are doing too much. Those dudes are doing way too much. But I wanted to do that, and eventually I went out there with them and I was nowhere close, but it wasn't like a competition. They didn't push me aside because I wasn't on their level. They're like, "Hey, keep going, bro. You got this. We're going to wait on you." And then at first you're you feel like a burden, but then it's they're really encouraged. They'll even come back and run with me a little bit. My first timed mile with them was 12 minutes and 37 seconds. My fastest one was 5 minutes and 57 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was part of my transformation. And then, so you can get drugs just as easy in prison, if not easier than you can on the streets. It's not who you got to call, this, that, and the other. It's what bunk do I go to in this dorm that I'm in with however many men in the dorm.
They cannot afford it, right?
Pretty much, or there's always a way to get it, but can you pay it back?
Yeah.
That's where a lot of issues come in with people, and that was never really one of my things. But and don't get me wrong, like I've been in debt in prison. Like, hey, can I borrow a couple of soups, this, that, and the other? I'll pay you back when I get it. But
Right.
you know, that's just not the position you really want to be in, especially when it comes to gambling or drugs or anything like that, just like on the streets. But and I hardly ever did drugs in prison. I know you could get them, but I hardly ever did it. One thing I never did on the streets, but was really heavy in prison, was some boxing. I didn't do it I hardly ever did it. But it was one of those things that sometime, like, just because I was buddies with somebody, they'd be like, hey, you want some of this? Or, hey, I'll give you a deal way better than most people would get. And I'd be like, just because I'm getting that deal, it's a mental thing I'm getting over. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, whatever. So, like I said, I didn't do it that often, but I did it. So this one guy, he was going to give me some, and we got in an argument about something completely different. And I was like, you know what? You can just keep that, bro. I don't even want to talk to you right now, kind of thing. In that same week, like within that week, it was April 12th, 2019. And it clicked in my head, like, I just don't want to live this anymore. Like, I still got a couple years left in here, but I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. Like,
finally had enough.
I have to like change. So, you know, came down to like, I'm going to stop doing that. Like, even if somebody offers, like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I want to make this. So April 12th wasn't the last day that I used something. You know, I don't even remember what day it was, because it was probably like a week before that dude even tried to give me that. Or a few weeks probably. But April 12th was the day that I made a decision that I'm going to change my life, and nobody else is going to tell me what I'm going to do with my life from here on out, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I started working out, and for 2.5 years, I just went hard in prison. I did all kinds of stuff. I went vegetarian for 6 months. I did all kinds of stuff. I went on no sweet diets for 30 days, 60 days at a time. I wouldn't eat sweets. I pushed myself to limits I never thought possible, and that boosted my mental health alone.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that you prioritized your physical health, which then gave you the ability to, or requires you have to conquer your mental state to be able to make yourself go out there and do those things, to make yourself be, to fast from sweets and stuff like that. You can't be weak-minded to do stuff like that. And that's absolutely a way to take control back of your life. That's what I'm hearing from you. As part of what did it for you.
And I would like to say, even when I was being stupid and just couldn't care about consequences, I feel like I've always been a kind of strong-minded person. Even in the midst of my depression and not even wanting to be here, I feel like I was still a strong-minded person.
Yeah.
Even when I was in the midst of drugs, like I said, I've never. Even in the midst of drugs, however much I use, I feel like I was still mostly taking care of the people around me who were using way less. It was just one of those things. So I've always felt like I had a strong mind. But I started meditating and literally focusing on what I wanted. Somebody gave me this book, and it was a giant book, dude. And it was called Mind is the Master by this philosophical writer from like the late 1800s, early 1900s. James Allen, and it was all of his books comprised into one. And it's not like a novel that you read. You can go to any page, and it's just going to have some information about how to live your life and be positive and over mindset. Everything boiled down to forcing positivity into your life. Like, even on the bad days, even in the hard times, you're going to have the moments, bad moments, but making that cup half full every time, even no matter how hard the situation, because the hard situations is where we grow. Just like your elbows and your knees when you're a kid and you grow, when they ache and stuff, it's called growing pains. As you grow as a human being, it's painful.
Yes.
It's painful. And that's with every aspect of growth in life. Sometimes we go through hard times and we don't understand why things happen. But that might be to help somebody get through that hard time in the future.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how we got to look at things.
I couldn't agree with that more. Absolutely. I think that's what we're here for, is to grow and learn through pain and through struggles, through positive, through negative. It's both. And if you have to have that North Star of belief in whatever it is, for each individual, to keep you moving forward and not give up or not try to take your life or be hopeless.
Absolutely. And so many people feel hopeless out there today. And
especially
they feel so alone.
Yeah.
In a room full of people, they feel so alone.
100%. When did religion start creeping back into it? What during that time when you were getting your physical health back in order? Is that when the Holy Spirit, you felt like, started to kind of speak to you again?
So I've always been like, me going to jail wasn't one of those, I wasn't a jailhouse Christian. I was an outside Christian. Even in the midst of it, I was still in church a lot. Like sadly enough, I was getting high in the parking lot before I was going and playing in the praise band of church that I was leading.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, so I always had my faith there, but when I started praying and meditating, I was writing down goals, and my goals, I had them in the 3 G's. It was God first, go hard, and grow up. And it was like my spiritual goals, my physical goals, and my mental goals. And in my spiritual goals, like this is how many verses you're going to read a day. This is how many times you're going to pray a day and everything like that. And that just strengthened my relationship with God. I don't do it as often maybe as I should, but I definitely spend time with God on a daily basis. I pray and I make sure, and I'm trying to do a daily verse on my social media for people to get every day as well. And I try to even do a daily prayer on a live stream for people just to get that, because that is where my faith is at. And I'm definitely more of a faith person over a religious person. I grew up in the church my whole life. I have no problem with going to some churches, but I have a hard time with a lot of churches too, because I know that I have had Christians look at me looking the way I do, thinking as judgment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I've gone to churches being that good kid and seen people in the church judge how people come in not looking like them, or maybe somebody didn't get a shower the day before, or maybe they're asked to, and different things like that. And the Bible says, come as you are. And I believe that we all should be able to come as we are, broken. If I'm in the midst of my addiction and I need to be at that altar and that's where my life changes, you shouldn't stop me from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it doesn't mean I should be in church smoking it. You should ask me to leave if I'm disrespecting at that type of level. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's any type of professional, anywhere you go, not just in church, but the church is not just a building, it's the people. And this journey really does bring people together. This journey brings people that don't believe in God to the journey. They might know I pray and they're like, hey, I might not believe with everything, but I love what you're doing. And that's so important to me, you know?
Well, let's talk about the journey, and let's talk about, because your social media, when you first got on social media, I'm sure it was really low. And then all of a sudden you just started, gathering as long as you're going, meeting cool people, I'm sure, doing stories and all that other stuff. So bring us through that if you don't mind.
Oh man. Yeah. And it's crazy. I was so cocky. I thought my journey would have been like blown up on that first Coast to Coast. I bragged to a couple friends before I left. I'm like, hey, by the time I finish that first Coast to Coast, I'm going to have 1 million followers, 6 figures in my pocket. My mindset wasn't right. And God said, that's not going to happen like that. Because for many, many days, I struggled a lot. And the journey, I want to say the first year on the journey, like from January to January, might have hit like 3K followers. I think the next year I might have got up to like 30 something followers or something like that. And within the last year, it's already jumped up to 113.
Yeah.
So it's like more than doubled each year. And it's growing so fast that it's hard to keep up with. It has gotten actually overwhelming and overstimulating that I had to make some adjustments recently because of the way it's grown. I was chasing the mileage daily. It was how many miles can I cover today? And then I would get so frustrated with too many people stopping in the day because I wasn't getting anywhere.
Right.
And I got really mad this past week, and I felt so bad, and I had to make a change of heart with it to slow down and enjoy every person, because I wouldn't have the following that I do if it wasn't for every individual person that clicked the follow button, for every individual person that follows and shares. That's not me doing that. I mean, I post in groups and stuff, but that's not me. Like I do so much, but these people are helping me with that awareness. This journey is not about me. It's about everybody. And I have to take the time to enjoy it because it's going to continuously grow. And it's more than just a number. That's 113,000 people as of right now that believe that healing is possible, that recovery is real, and that we all matter. Yeah. And that's what I love about this journey.
What is your take on when you made you said you grew up in the church?
Yes.
Twice a week, going to church twice a week when you were a kid?
Private school and everything.
Okay. Wow. What do you think it was that made you kind of take that turn in the wrong direction? Because I think that's important for people. It's going to be different for everybody, obviously, but what do you think it was for you? Because to identify that, you have to identify that you made a wrong turn at some point in your life, or you can't make the right turn, right? So what do you think it was for you?
The The first person I ever got high with was the bass player in the church band that I had.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But do you think it's drugs is the problem or drugs is the symptom? That's kind of what I'm getting at too. Again, probably different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
did you
I guess escaping problems,
right?
Just for a lot of people, So actually, it's crazy because in the church at a very young age, I was sexually abused in the church. So that, and then my weight gain, led to me wanting to take my life my freshman year of high school and attempting, and I'm still here for a reason. I thank God, and not everybody gets to make it, and that's why we're out here walking.
We've actually got some comments. As Alexis said, I wish my brother would have been able to change his mindset and find this strength.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
And the strength comes from God, straight up. I had to let go of my ego and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I brag, and sometimes
you're human.
I'm blessed, and I've been able to accomplish so much in 3 years that a lot of people won't even get to do in a lifetime. And this is 3 years out of prison after spending like 10 years locked up.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed and thankful for, but I know it can be taken away at any given time, and I don't want to lose sight of what is important, the fact that her brother,
right?
We're walking for her brother. Rest in peace, and to any family members or for anybody watching that's struggling or anything like that. Like, it's not about me. I'm not the only person physically capable with a recovery story that's ever wanted to walk across America.
Yeah.
I'm not the only person that has walked across America, and other people are gonna do it, and most people might do it for these causes. But this is a journey that God has put me on, and everything has been divine. There has been hard times and issues, and I've grown and I've learned from those issues, but it's been amazing, man. It's and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not like a mental health expert as far as like no credentials in it or anything like that, but having dealt with people in my own personal life, that I've seen struggle with this type of thing, it seems to me like usually there's something that happens, whether it's to what degree is varying, but like that kind of breaks their psychological state, to where they give up and then they go to drugs or alcohol or whatever it is as an outlet, as an escape, as to feel good and not feel like they've been feeling right. And then that path is like a snowball of just crimes, charges, then the laws involved, and then it makes it worse and worse and worse and worse. And the only ones I've ever seen really come out of it is the ones that turn back to God in some way, shape, or form. Because like you said, it gives you the power that you need, the faith, the love, the belief in yourself, belief in a higher power to get out of that cycle. Whereas if you try to do it on your own, those people I don't think do as well at all.
And I think being in the midst, I never really thought about this like this until right now, but I think being in the midst of so much evil when you're doing the crimes and the drugs, that's the devil's candy, straight up. I mean, that is the devil's candy. To be in the midst of so much evil, even as a Christian and somebody that grew up in the church, like you see how real some things are, like, I don't know. I believe in the supernatural. I feel like I've experienced things that are just unexplainable, that you could show me black and white that God wasn't real, and I'd be like, no, you're wrong, because I know God's real, because it's just been it's crazy.
I think no, great. I think there's a movement happening right now, like online, social media wise, I think, where God's making his presence known. Like, you're seeing a lot of these bigger podcasts start to talk about it. You're seeing a lot of
sports athletes,
high profile individuals. I just read it earlier, like Joe Rogan with all that Wes Huff stuff that I keep telling you about. Wes Huff was on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz. It was a great 3-hour conversation. I watched that whole thing. But like, Rogan's apparently going to church now and stuff too. That's cool. I don't know. It's just things are,
it can't hurt.
Right. But maybe the needle's moving a little bit because we all know this world is like wicked. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
I'd say in between the time that the Nickelodeon stuff came out exposed last year with all that Hollywood, there was a whole thing about Nickelodeon kids that were being abused last year. Between that and the Diddy thing coming out, you know how many celebrities came out turning to God? And not saying that they were in that and using that as, but a lot of those people know some of the stuff that's going on, or a lot of people. Even if they're not on that status, a lot of people keep their mouths quiet about stuff that they know going on because they don't want to hurt somebody's feeling or ruin somebody, this, that, and the other. When at the end of the day, it's just not right. And a lot of it is straight evil, and they know what's going on. People say that, like, Meta's CEO and stuff, like they're building all these places underground and they're evil people and all this stuff, and how the Bible talks about like all these people will flee like the sun and all this stuff, and don't quote me on the word for scripture. Like, I don't have it and I don't want to misread the Bible, but
push it up.
But there's so much going on and all this evil is being exposed. And like God's showing his light and a lot of people are being punished in the process, and I think that, I don't know. I don't want to get too, but there's a lot of scariness going on in the world. And I think people are really seeing what's going on. There's so many prophecies that are being fulfilled left and right from the Bible itself, from a book that, transcribed from God, written by men. A lot of people have a problem with the fact that it was written by men and how we change things and stuff like that. But all this stuff that was written thousands of years ago, you just see all this stuff coming to light, left and right. And I think a lot of people are starting to open their eyes with it. And it's awesome. And it's good.
I think so.
The day you started the trip or your journey, did you pack a bag? I mean, did you bring anything with you? Did you just start walking on the way?
What's the logistics of planning
how do you do that?
Absolutely. So I have a cart in the back of your truck right now that I'm pushing across the country. I had a cart similar to that, and I had like
a Walmart buggy kind
so
of.
So it's a doggy stroller.
Okay.
Yeah, like a doggy stroller, and even sometimes like you see bikes that are riding down the road and they got their dogs with a little stroller. It's one of those. It's just I have a push cart and a front tire instead of a hitch. The first I've learned trial and error.
Yeah.
My first cart I had two big white signs and I had washable markers, man.
Yeah.
And I had wrote tons of little, you could barely even read it. And every time it rained, every time it rained, I had to wipe it off with rags and rewrite it, and it would never come up good. I was running out of markers. And then in Oklahoma City, I actually stayed at a pastor's house who was my youth pastor back in Florida. So when I stayed at his house for a couple weeks. He ordered me like this metal frame that went around my cart with the banner that I had for the longest time, and that was awesome. And then I think in Oregon, I got like the setup that I have now. Now the cart itself, I've had that cart for quite a while. I went through 2 broken carts in Alabama till I got the cart that made it over 3,900 miles.
Wow.
This is like the same exact cart as that one. I retired that one and then got another one because they're so good. So I've always had the cart. I did pretty good on supplies even from the beginning, but I always carried way more than I needed at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Actually, the day I left, I had a bin that had like 5 pairs of shoes. Like 2 days or like the very next day, I'm like, no, I do not need these shoes for this. Like,
I think of like watching videos about like hikers or climbers. Anybody does anything like long distance like you, and it's like ounces equal pounds.
Yes.
And if you don't need it, then you don't
leave it at home.
Yeah, it has to be an absolute necessity, and you take the minimal amount of it.
It's funny that you say that because people every day that I'm walking try to bring me a grocery bag with a bunch of waters and stuff. And I tell people, hey, a gallon of water is 8 pounds. Like, and I'm minimal. I love that you thought about me. It means the absolute world. And I hate turning you down, but I just have no room and water gets heavy.
Yeah. I'm trying to travel light.
For sure.
And it does. But people are just so thoughtful. And most of the time I'll be like, hey, unless you really plan on using it for yourself, please pay it forward if you see somebody else in need on the side of the road, because I'm not really in that position.
Right. What's in the cart though on a daily basis? You got to have some water, right? A little bit of food or
yeah. And especially so if I'm 90 miles in between towns or 60 miles in between town, I'll get extra drinks and stuff to last me a couple days. Right now, I can go to a gas station every few miles, so I don't have to carry like that. Especially in the heat, my waters will get heated up real quick. So I can go get a cold drink every few miles, basically. Totally lost my train of thought.
What's in the cart?
So I got a tent, a sleeping bag. I have a little mat that I can blow up with my foot, like 300 pumps, and it blows up to like 6-inch mats. Pretty cool. I got a bin that has a first aid kit, has a lantern, just a bunch of little random things like a pillow, just detergent for doing laundry and stuff. I have another bin with all of my clothes and then a little blanket. I have a really good hygiene kit. I have a shovel, an axe, bear mace.
There you go.
The whole Boy Scout kit.
A good knife. I have 2 Jackery power stations on the top of my cart.
Sweet.
Because I poured coffee, and I don't even drink coffee. A gentleman gave me coffee one night, and and I just happened to take it from him, and I set it down, and the lid came off, and all the coffee went in all my ports, and it started charging way worse.
Yeah. They'll do that. They'll
Start
do that.
charging way worse. So now I got two. I keep a little bit of merch on me to sell. Like I got bracelets, that I sell. All of them say hashtag a walking testimony, name of the journey, hashtag you matter. That's my words. On the front of the cart, well, I have a bin that goes on the top that has my power station. So I have like easy access to this stuff as I'm walking. I have a little phone mount. I can live stream while I'm walking. On the front of that bin, I have a big sign that says you matter. And it's big, bold, black letters, so you can see me from like half a mile away.
Yeah.
I'm always very high visibility. So like they're like, who's this guy? Oh, you matter. Thank you. I needed to see that. That's and a big sign on the bottom half that says walking across America. So let people know what's going on. Other than that, I carry a couple snacks here and there. I had a backpack with my laptop and my notebook.
Sweet. So I always think about, obviously you already made the Forrest Gump reference. I mean, that was the first thing. That's the first thing that came to mind whenever I heard about what you were doing. And then I think about the quote where he says, when I had to go, I went. When I needed to sleep, I slept. Is that what you do? You just, wherever you bunker down for the night and you sleep on the side of the road, or do you try to get accommodations? Like, how does that work?
So I always have that tent and sleeping bag. I'm always prepared to camp on the side of the road. You can't really just camp on the side of the road anywhere. And sometimes, you might be doing a 20-mile day and you don't want to walk another 10 miles just to find that camp spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have no choice, and I've been in that position before. The amazing thing about the social media and how this journey's grown is I can post on Facebook, hey, this is the distance that I'm covering today. Do I have anybody in this area with a truck? I have gas money that it could pick me up later, bring me to lodging, and I can find a ride tomorrow to come right back to where I left off so I don't cheat my miles to move forward.
Okay. So that was one thing we touched on.
I was just going to bring that up. So you talked about your cart in the back of my truck. You don't walk everywhere, but you go back to where you last started walking, right?
Always. So like when it comes to like town to town, in between towns, I will do that. Sometimes I got a 30, especially in reservation land. You just can't go camp on anybody's reservation, like going through New Mexico, especially having respect for those people, and that's their land. So there was a lot of 40 to 60, 70-mile stretches out in those areas that it was, hey, somebody has to pick me up and bring me an hour back to some lodging, and then the next day I got to find a ride an hour back. The good thing about in between towns is those people are driving that on a daily basis to go to work or go wherever and stuff like that. So it's really easier to find a ride. But I've had to deal with that a lot. But I don't cheat my miles. There's been a couple reroutes, like Colorado in the wintertime. My first winter ever seeing snow was walking through the Rockies.
It's pretty tough.
It was intense, man. I walked through the highest city in incorporated city in North America, Leadville, Colorado, 10,000, like 160 or 200 feet, something like that.
Well,
negative 11 degrees, negative 11 degrees. With snow on the ground, negative 11, 18-degree wind chill. Like I didn't even take my cart out that day. Like somebody had gave me a bunch of snow gear, and I went and put on snow goggles, a scarf, all kinds of stuff, big snow pants and everything. And I went and hiked like 9 out of 11 miles on a trail up there.
Wow.
That was my walking up there. And what was the original question?
so
you got to forgive me.
Going back and forth, like riding.
You don't always walk everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
So, there was reroutes in Colorado. So, one time I got to actually coming out of Leadville, Colorado, there was a pass that was so iced over that it was barely drivable. You're not walking because of the cars sliding everywhere. So somebody recommended like, hey, like, please let me drive you out of this area. So I got driven out of that area, like 20, 30 miles out of the way. I didn't document any of those miles, but I picked up so many miles outside of a town so I could still walk something that day, walked into a town, stay there, and then just picked up from there. Now, at the end of the day, I rerouted some crazy distances that actually ended up adding more miles than taking away in the long run. So
how many miles do you think you cover in a day, like an average day for you? How many miles is that?
I'd say my best average could easily be 20 miles.
Okay.
Lately, it's slowed down a lot with the amount of people. Like, there's been days only doing 6 miles and stuff like that. The most miles I've ever done in a day is 36. But I could easily average 20 if need be.
Wow,
That's crazy.
Wow. How, you said how old are you? You mentioned
32.
32. Because I'm wondering. I'm like, how's the knees feel? How's the back? How's
I'm
the
doing
how's the
great.
lumbar?
I'm doing great,
It
man.
is okay.
The only thing I really
If I
do
stand too long in a day,
Yeah.
just
my
start-
calves get sore, man.
I bet.
I have to stretch them a lot, but other than that, dude, I'm pretty good.
You got a big bottle of ibuprofen or anything on there? Tylenol? What do we got? What do we
I
pack?
hardly ever keep any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I just had some like pretty gnarly allergies last week that I did go get like some allergy medication. But I hate doing that stuff. I hate taking any of that. Most of the time, I'm not really in pain like that. I will take an ibuprofen if I have to. But like what did I do? Oh, I hurt my ankle the other day because I got mad, threw my phone at it. There was a lot of karma that came with that instantly.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
But some lady bought me a little pack of ibuprofen, 2 little things. I still have that. I haven't even used it yet. So.
Okay. Well, you're still younger.
Sure.
God's working through you right now.
He
you got a little,
he's
you got a leg
working
up
with
on
you.
us.
He's
Yeah.
working with you.
Blessed and protected.
You brought up the people stopping you, and you're saying doing a better job of talking to each person, but you still do these meet and greets at the end of every night, or you just pick a night, or how does that work? It's just wherever you're at on the path.
About to say, I started doing recent meet and greets within this year. Like that wasn't something I've always done. And that's kind of every few nights now. If I'm in a city and there's enough people that have reached out that want to meet me that might not see me, walking throughout the day, then I'll try to set one up just to meet some of those people and stuff like that to give people the opportunity. And that also gives me the opportunity to not be hard on myself if I'm not able to meet a couple people, because I was able to give a bunch of people the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to show myself grace and mercy and not be so hard on myself with feeling like I have to please every individual person that does want to see me, because I do try to make myself accessible.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And we got one here in about 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, at the Winn-Dixie that I totally thought was open for use until we just drove by it a few minutes ago.
The one at Ocean
There's
Springs.
a big gate around the front of
They're
it.
redoing it. Yeah. It's not even open anymore. You can't even get to it.
Is it going to be an Aldi too?
No, I think they're just remodeling.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Still
So-
love Winn-Dixie.
I was
So
like,
I'll be
yeah, there's
over
one
there.
Dixie. He was like, yeah, it's the parking lot. I was like, ain't much parking lot.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like I was in my thought process of putting that together, like people that are coming home from work can shop, get their groceries and stuff and come say what's up.
Hey, that's just part of the logistics of doing this
That's how
kind of
it
stuff.
works.
It happens.
We had a question. Alexis that wants to know: do you have a plan for hurricane season?
Get out of the
Get
south.
a boogie board or something, man. Get a nice boogie board, styrofoam, maybe a kayak.
Yeah.
Hang out. I'm from Florida, so it's all
Okay.
good.
So
Head
you're,
north.
yeah,
You know what I'm
head
saying?
north.
Hey, we embrace those with love.
Yeah.
With love and pray when bad things happen.
You got cell phone service, so he'll be up to date on all the alerts and
That's
all that.
right.
He's got power. What about like the economics behind it? Do you take donations, Cash App, Venmo? Do you have sponsors? Any kind of companies reaching out to you? You know, Forrest Gump I think he had a Nike sponsorship.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Reebok. It was Reebok.
Was it
Wasn't
Reebok?
I think it was.
I think it was Nike.
So, and real quick, this is the most important part, actually, since we're talking about this part. I am fundraising for a nonprofit called Addict to Athlete, focused on mental health recovery, education, recreation. That's Roman numeral 2, Addict II Athlete. Even if none of y'all feel led to donate, if you're following my page, please go give them a like, follow, and share, because every little bit of support to them helps as well. I have merchandise. I'm employed. I want people to know, for anybody that sees me walking as the guy with long hair and a beard walking down the road pushing a cart, I am employed through social media as a content creator. I am getting a check every month through social media.
Okay, well, that helps.
And I have merchandise. So I have these bracelets once again. They all say hashtag a walking testimony, hashtag you matter. I have a website, KyndalRay.com, with hoodies and different things like that. People, it doesn't cost to put a name on a shirt of a loved one to remember them, but we do have the shirts for sale if people would like to purchase them after we get 180 names for each edition. But we got shirts, different things on there. People do donate, but I definitely prefer to be able to give somebody something in return than just taking money from somebody, because I don't want people to think that that's what this is about. But there is some people that don't want anything, that just want to come drop off a couple bucks. You can. Every little bit is greatly appreciated. It all goes towards food, lodging. I'm trying to work on saving up to go do 100 miles on each continent, which actually my best friend, I just told him, I was like, dude, I need a manager, bro. Like, I would love to start paying you, but like, I need to be in a position. Like, I really need some sponsorships or some endorsements or somebody to invest a good, like, some chunks of money into this journey, because we could do big things. I could get a bus. I could have a team with me to help me document on social media and help it go to the next level, because I'm running 5 social media accounts by myself on top of all the walking, on top of meeting everybody. Like, my girlfriend helps me ship out merchandise from home, and she answers a couple messages here and there. But like, I think in the last 28 days, I've had over 920 messages on my walking testimony Facebook page alone, and I respond to almost every single one of them.
Yeah.
You know, so on top of all that, it's a lot on my plate to be doing by myself. And I do get overwhelmed and overstimulated. So I do want to get a team. So me and him just talked yesterday about trying to reach out. We've been using ChatGPT, trying to find out mental health and or recovery organizations or companies that support those that might be willing to look into maybe endorsing the journey or want to do a sponsorship or something like that. At the same time, I don't want it to get to
dilute the message,
political or anything like that, or get too sidetracked. You know what I mean? So I want everything to be. That's why I haven't really done that yet in the last 3 years.
Not too commercial, not too money focused, I think is what you're maybe saying.
I overthink that, like, but I, you know, it'd be okay if I had some money. I could still do more for different communities if I did have more money.
Yeah. We're getting low on time, Joey.
Where are you headed next? Where are you headed after here?
Wait, real quick. Did you say that you could, though? Is there a website to get that merch and stuff?
Yeah, my website is on that card right there, Kyndal Ray, KYNDALRAY.com. Or if you go follow me on my social media, A Walking Testimony on pretty much all social media platforms. I have all my links in my bios for the most part. And if you just check out my bios, I could lead you to a lot of the information as well.
Okay.
Sweet. Where are you headed next?
So from here, we're in Ocean Springs right now. We'll be heading towards Pascagoula and then up to the Alabama state line. Then I'll be taking the whole coast. I'll be going down through Dauphin Island, taking a ferry to Fort Morgan, all the way to Florida.
Sweet. Yeah.
Over to the coast of Florida, to the bottom of Florida, and up to Maine. But yeah, I think I got a few more days here in Mississippi. Just a couple more days down on the coast. So if y'all see me out and about, would love to meet y'all and get a picture. Stop, say what's up. Come get some merch, but please don't feel pressure to get merch. It's not about that. But it's all mental health merch. Always nice to have a reminder that you matter.
Yeah, sweet. I guess one last thing before we get out of here. What's the craziest thing you've seen on this journey? Because I know you've had to see some crazy stuff.
It's really not like that, you know.
Really?
I've seen a lot of beautiful sights, and I've met a lot of amazing people. I haven't really had a lot of bad experiences with people, which this is going to be a cliffhanger for y'all. But I had to bear mace somebody twice.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be a future invite to tell that story.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe like you saw a bear at one point.
So actually, my first bear I saw in Cape Alava, Washington, on the beach. A little black bear, which was pretty cool. Which my first time ever seeing a herd of elk, some dude drove me up to a mountain in Colorado, like Rifle, Colorado or something, handed me binoculars, and it was like 200 to 300 elk just like barreling over a mountain. It was nuts. I've had a lot of elk sight. I've been down streets with elks that are like 10 feet tall next to me, man.
Yeah. Wow. This is good. Alexis says he hasn't been to the Chevron in Biloxi yet then. The one across from the Rivage. Yeah. That one has a little bit of a
you don't want to go.
You don't want to go there.
What's the
if you don't have to?
What's most hospitable state you've been to, or maybe the coolest state you've ever been?
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and say my favorite individual spot of all time is Cape Flattery, the most northwestern point of the state. The Bible Belt. The Bible Belt is definitely Southern hospitality. Now I will say. The entire West Coast, everywhere I've gone, has treated me good. And I probably get that experience because of what I'm doing, and I get to experience people better than most. Every place has been amazing. Even Southern California, that a lot of people don't outside of California. California was amazing. It was just expensive, but it was amazing to me.
Beautiful weather. Beautiful.
Now, New Mexico and specifically like the Navajo Nation and all of the tribes around there,
That was awesome.
they absolutely came out of the woodworks for me. When I tell you, like, they gave me all kinds of turquoise, silver beaded bracelets. I've had them bring me into their homes and do spiritual prayers with their feathers over me, like burning wood. Like,
Wow.
the Navajo Nation was really all the tribal reservations, even the Northwestern Point, that's the Macaw tribe, all reservations, some of my favorite places to go through. But the Gulf Coast here in Mississippi has been beyond incredible to me. I'm just so thankful with the love and support. So many hogs and stuff out there. I appreciate y'all so much.
Nice. My one last question is, do you have a time frame on this? When you think it's going to be over, or because I know you said sometimes 20 miles a day, sometimes 6, like it varies, or is this kind of open ended? It ends when it ends.
You know what? Actually, this past couple weeks, it's been more of it's always kind of been, I'm not really on a time crunch. But now I'm really not, because if it takes me 5 days to walk to Pascagoula because I got stopped by 1,000 people, then it takes me 5 days to walk to Pascagoula because I got stopped by 1,000 people.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have like, I got to be done by X, whatever month. I got to be done by August. Or I need to be done by September, or whatever it is.
I want the mental health and recovery really to be the main focus. And if people want to come and share their stories with me, I might not have time to hear everybody's full length story. Right. But if somebody can come share a couple minutes of what they got going on because they want to open up to me, I want to give them that option without being upset. I want to enjoy people's company because, once again, it's those people is the reason that I have what I have. And I want to give them that time back.
What's your 1 minute elevator speech to somebody, whether they're at that event, like, one of your meet and greets, and they tell you what's wrong, what they got going on or whatever? What do you tell them? How do you tell them to get back on track? Where do you send them? What advice do you give them?
I tell them to show themselves grace and mercy. You have to love yourself. Don't beat yourself up, but don't use not beating yourself up as an excuse to keep doing the things that you're doing. You got to love yourself. I let people know that, like, whether I know you in person or not, and even if I'm talking to you in person, you're struggling, like, I might not know everything about you, but I love you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I care about you. And I'm so thankful that you're here today. Whatever you're going through, it can get better if you allow it to get better. And keep going and stay strong and that you matter. And especially if it's with recovery, I'll let them know that we do recover, but I'll also tell people in recovery that other people can't get you clean. You have to,
it's gotta be
you
yourself.
have to want it from the bottom of your heart, no matter what kind of programs are out there. They're all amazing. Community and support's amazing, but you have to want it for yourself.
There it is.
What a great way to end it.
I like it, man. I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
The comments have been great, man. Everybody enjoys what you're doing. We do as well, man. Very inspiring, very inspiring. That's the best way to
come hang out with him in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We're headed over.
Yeah, we're about to head over to meet and greet here in a couple minutes, guys.
Right. Okay, man. So where can they find you on the socials? Everything, Facebook, Instagram, the whole nine?
Yeah, everything's basically a walking testimony. My TikTok is at Kyndal Ray, spelled a little bit different, but you can find that through my other socials. But even if you just Google a walking testimony, walking across America, you might even find some news stories and stuff as well. Maybe some newspaper articles, podcasts I've done, or some other podcasts I've done, things like that. So go check it out, guys.
Sweet. I dropped the Facebook link just now in the comments below on the socials here, and then I also dropped the website earlier. So click on either one of those. It'll be linked in the podcast for all you audio people. You'll be able to find what he's doing, support, just check him out and feel good. Man, right. Like you said, mental health is very important. And in today's world, I'm glad to see of all the things that are happening, that type of awareness is becoming trendy in a good way.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great thing. So thanks everybody for tuning on the lives, watching on the replays and everything. Please go download the Brownwater Banter app if you haven't done it already. All of our merch is in there. All of our episodes, all of our stuff is in there. You can follow us without having to worry about the algorithm kicking us out. And if y'all keep